Aloha, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on whichever part of the world you are. My name is Parul Agarwal, and I'm here live on the My Secret Bookshelf Instagram page, talking to some wonderful authors who have written some amazing books in the last few months, in the last few decades. Doesn't really matter because all we care about is love for books and love of writing, and that's what we are here to promote. It says live, but I do not see anybody live, so we are telling your followers that you have started a live video. Yes, Instagram, please do tell my followers that I have started the live video. Today I plan on interviewing a wonderful writer, a woman's writer, so to speak. Her name is Alexandria Kate, and I hope she's able to join us because, sometimes with all these tools, all these technology, it's a little bit difficult. Hello, everybody. Hello, Amara Wilson. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, White Eye. I love your name. It's wonderful. I mean, I'm sure it's not your name, it's your Instagram handle, but it sounds pretty cool. So let's see if I'm able to invite Alex, who's a children's books author, in here. She's not live yet, so hopefully she will be live in some time. Let me see if I can add her somehow. Alexandria Kate, yes. All right, send request. Right, so once we figure out all the nitties and gritties of this live, we will be able to invite Alex, and we'll be able to talk to her. Hello, Bookishnish. Hello, Alex. Thank you so much. And again, my name is Parul. I'm here on the My Secret Bookshelf Instagram page. I help writers. Authors publish their books and market them, and essentially, as I say, I help them share their message with the world. And today I'll be talking with Alexandria Kate and helping her share her message for little children with the world. So Alex, hello, and I will be let's see if you're able to join us. Yes, I think so. It says send request. So if you're receiving any request, Alex, can you please accept it? If you're receiving any request to join. Hi, how are you?
Hi! This is my first time doing this. It's not
Yes.
easy, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. Hi, how are
Yes, it takes a little bit of a curve, learning curve, but once you know it. It's not that difficult. You look lovely.
you? Oh, wow, thanks. I'm like trying to find the best way to do this camera, but you know what? I think I'm just going to give up. So, how are you?
It looks great. You look great.
Okay.
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm on vacation in Taos, New Mexico, so it doesn't get any better than that.
Wonderful. Is it a little bit cold there?
You know what? Yesterday it was perfect weather. Today we're expecting snow coming in, so it's a
Wow.
little chilly. Yeah, I'm not used to the cold. I live in sunny Southern California.
I
So,
know.
wearing gloves is kind of new for me. So, but anyway,
Wonderful.
fun.
Wonderful. Enjoy your first snow of the season.
Thanks.
Yes. It's a little bit early this time. I hope we don't get too harsh winters. Yes.
Yes, yeah, it's been a crazy year with weather. Who knows what's going to come our way, right?
I know. I
Teaching us
know.
how to adapt, which is one of the wonderful things to learn in our lives, is learning how to adapt. I was actually in Joshua Tree National Park a few months ago, and I was reading a plaque out in the middle of nowhere, and it was talking about how about 200 years ago, up to 100 years ago, there was cattle grazing where in Joshua Tree National Park is now desert in Southern
Wow.
California. And it was on the plaque, it was talking about how the animals that survived, they learned how to go into the rocks, and then they would come out in the morning and they would drink the morning dew, and then they would go back into the rocks, and then they would come out at night, and those were the animals that learned how to adapt, and they were ultimately the ones that learned how to survive.
That
It was a really good
survived.
lesson of adaptability and how important that is on our journeys in life.
Absolutely. Survival, of the fittest is the key. So, Alex, today I would like to
Uh-oh,
talk
you
to you about
froze.
your books and essentially, so the two books that you have written, the first one, are you able to hear me? I see that your window is kind of frozen. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what? I'm a court reporter, so I'm kind of used to like filling in the blanks. So I think we'll be good. The audio is going out just a little bit.
Okay, wonderful. Yes, I think we'll be good. So, the Lantern Fairy and How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds. Beautiful books, beautiful illustrations. How did you get the inspiration to write these children's books and come out with such beautiful illustrations?
Well, it's really my life journey. And it started as a small child, where as a small child, I felt this connection to nature. I mean, as far as my inspiration, it was definitely the elements and the wonder of the world. It was the way that leaves blow through trees. It was the expression in my pet rabbit's eyes. It was the light that would come through the window, and I would sit and just feel it over me. And it was also the beautiful things that people did. And from a young age, I would focus on the beauty of people. Even if they did things that were very negative and very hurtful, I would focus on the beauty. That's a survival instinct for me, but it carried me through life. And my inspiration really just came from the personal journey and the spiritual journey of taking the time to walk through the fire of the belief system and negative belief systems that I had within me, and learning how to use perspective, which is a huge part of the work that I've done for myself, of using perspective as a key through the doorway of what I call the golden road within, which is recognizing the divinity of ourselves, of who we really are, which is more than this body, more than this hand, more than this hair and all of this. It's that beautiful, beautiful light that's within us and that divinity that's within us.
That's
And so my
beautiful.
little fairies are my journey. Yeah.
So, how did you come up with this, idea of the fairies? I mean, they're beautiful. Each of them is unique. The images are so beautiful, and I understand that's all your idea. You might have, given it to an illustrator to put your ideas in picture, but
No.
at the end of the day, no.
Well, my illustrations are my creation. I actually worked with Stan Lee, who is the creator of Spider-Man and a big part of Marvel. He and I
Wow.
worked together, and he gave me really good advice. I was telling Stan, I'm a writer. I write about these fairies, but I'm not an artist, And what he shared with me on his journey is he's not an artist either. He wasn't. He's actually passed away. But he hired people to bring out of his mind his characters that he had. And that was the advice that he gave me. He's like, find a really good illustrator that can bring out of you what you have, your characters. So my characters are my characters. I actually own them. They're copyrighted. I found an amazing illustrator. Her name is Cheryl Krauthamel. She's fantastic. And she is able to, I'm very picky. I may not be the easiest person to work with when it comes to that, because I'm really huge into colors. Colors are very symbolic for me. They're very spiritual, what they mean. And I'm really into symbology. So all of my characters are symbology on every page. There's double meaning, layers within of meaning on each illustration. So yeah, my illustrations, they're amazing. Cheryl did a great job.
They are amazing. And I was reading those books to my 3-year-old, and she wants to now go to bed with those books every night.
Ah, I love it. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes. In fact, one of the stories, The Strawberry Fairy, I was just reading to her, and she's 3, so she's into princesses and all these things and makeup and stuff. And then to illustrate the point to her, to make sure what the book says, to explain it to her a little bit better, I was saying, see, you don't, just like the fairy, you don't really need any makeup. You are beautiful as you are, right?
That's
And then it made her think, so since yesterday, or since the day the book arrived to our house, she has been thinking, but why mommy, so it's such a beautiful work you are doing for these little girls, because it is making them think. Now, if I tell them, from a mommy's point of view, she will not understand, but when she reads it and she listens it from a third person in a book from a beautiful fairy, then it makes her think and question. So beautiful work, Alex. So how was the process? I mean, I remember you had started working on one of these books like way back in 2012 or something, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the second book in the Fairy Awakening series is How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds, but it's actually the very first book that I wrote. I wrote the bones of that book as far as Straella Berry and Berryville with King Fruitkin. I wrote that story in its very basic form when I was 11 years old. And then I went through an experience in 2008 to 2010 that was very hurtful for me, which was bigotry, racism. And at that time, I dusted off that. I had saved the original manuscript and I dusted it off and I rewrote the story and I changed it based upon my experience of bigotry and racism and having to go on that road, which what started my personal and spiritual journey of looking beyond the color of my skin and looking beyond the labels that other people put on me and really looking within and really, really embracing and harnessing the power of prayer and the power of meditation. And that was a very, it's been a 12-year journey for me. And that's when the first book, How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds, started. And then I followed it up with The Lantern Fairy.
Oh, wonderful. So we have a question from one of our listeners here, and they're asking if, they want to write a children's book, but they're not sure how to go about it, how to start because they're adults. So what is really the key to start writing a children's book and understand a children's mind, essentially?
Oh my goodness. That's a loaded question. I would say finding the child within you, finding that innocence within yourself. For me, I mean, my process is very inspirational. So I'm constantly, I do a meditation. I do 2 meditations, Sitting in the Power, which is taught by one of my mentors, Andy Bing. And it's where you're sitting with the power of your own energy and your auric field, and you're just kind of feeling the energy of your own soul. I also do a meditation sitting in the light, which is sitting in the white light. And I just feel like the divinity and the connection of the divinity that's all around me and within me. And I walk in nature because, as a child, we used to play outside. We loved the sound of the wind. We loved the way that the grass would blow. And that was exciting for us. And our imagination, we get sparked, and that's how I find that little girl within me. And then for me, it's just living as beautiful of a life as I can within myself on that golden road. And then for me, I sit down and I just connect to that beauty. And then I just literally, you just got to take a pen, you got to put it to paper, and you just got to go for it. And sometimes that's the hardest part, is just going for it and just letting it come through and not thinking, and just write. Just don't stop. Just write. Sometimes I'll look off somewhere and I'll focus on like a spot far away and I'll just let it come through, and you have to blank out your mind and you just let it kind of come through, and it just starts flowing, and it all just comes together. I don't know. That's the best way that I can describe it. It's sometimes I'll look up at the clock and it'll be like 3 hours later, but
Wow.
I would say find that little girl within yourself and find that beauty within yourself. And because remember, when we're children, we come into this world and we're innocent and we're beautiful and we are just this light. And then what happens, unfortunately, is that other people are projecting their belief systems upon us, and, the way that I understand it, it's kind of like, if like your energy is a tennis ball, right? And the
Right.
world is like the backboard, and whatever you throw out is like that ball hitting that tennis, the board. It's going to come back at you. So, you come in as this beautiful child, and unfortunately there's people with their belief systems, and then you kind of take on their belief systems, and then you're throwing that out there, which isn't always positive. And so you have to go on that road of like getting rid of those old belief systems and learning how to create it within yourself into something beautiful. And when you do, you spark something within yourself. And really, it's that child, that beauty, that innocence within you, which is the light, which is beauty, which is divinity, and it's so childlike. It really is. I have a lot of people tell me when they meet me, they're like, wow, you're like a little girl in a woman's body. And I'm like, oh, okay. At first I wasn't sure how to take that. Now I'm like, right on, I'll take it.
Absolutely, and it keeps us young and energetic for life,
Yeah.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to show our listeners the screenshots of your book, so I'm not sure if they're able to see it, but see, here are the two books, the one from the Lantern for the Fairy Awakening series. And it's so funny because both of your books were competing with each other. So the
Right on.
first one is the number one right now is How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds and the Lantern Fairy series. So beautiful. I mean, both of these books are so beautiful. So, I mean, I simply love the covers and everything. It really is a beautiful work of art and description and everything. So, you mentioned a very good point a little bit earlier that always keep the copyrights of your work. So, how do you do that when you are working with an illustrator? I mean, how do you not get into any issues with the illustrator for that matter, and still honor their work, letting them know that no, it's your characters and your imagination and everything that has to go with it is yours.
Well, I think you just have to be honest from the start.
Okay.
Honest, this is what I'm looking for. And also, you have to do legal contracts. I mean,
Okay.
I have a contract between my illustrator and I that I own the rights to the illustrations. And I was very straight with her on, before publishing, saying, these are this is my creation, this is my art, and but of course I'm not going to pretend like I drew it. To me, that just doesn't feel right within myself. You know what I mean? Because I did have somebody help me in this sense, because I'm not that artist who can draw. It's in my mind, and she did a huge service and
Right.
professional.
Right.
You know, I don't know what you want to call it. It's not really a partnership, but she did a professional service for me, and I'm so appreciative of her. So even though I wanted my name on the front cover because I wrote the story and it's my characters and my scenes and everything, I really wanted to honor her and honor how amazing she is. And so I dedicated the book to her, and I wrote a biography about her and her website so that other people, if you're looking for an
Correct.
illustrator, my goodness, like, this woman's amazing, and she's not just an amazing artist, she's an amazing, beautiful person. So, it's hard to find people who are all around just wonderful people to create with sometimes, so
Absolutely.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
definitely get your contracts in order, guys. Like, you want to get your contracts in order. And then you copyright it online. You drop some cash down, you copyright it. So that's pretty much it.
And what is the website to copyright this work? Is it copyrights.gov or
Woo! Now you're like testing my memory skills, which aren't the best. You know what? I'm not sure. I have it bookmarked on my Mac, so I'm sorry, but it's the main, Library of Congress, all that stuff.
Okay,
So
wonderful. Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was just asking so people know
really,
exactly what to do.
that's
Yeah.
good to cut
And I'm
off.
sure it's different in different countries, right? So it could
I'm
be like,
sure.
yeah. Okay, wonderful. No. Okay. So how was
Oh,
this
you froze.
process for you? You mentioned that you started writing around when you were 11 years old, right?
Oh,
So,
I started writing before that. That was just when I wrote the bones for How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds. I started writing as a very young girl. And my writing evolved. It was really interesting. I was always writing about, rabbits and fairies and things like that. But I journaled. I got my first journal when I was in first grade, which would have put me around 6. My Aunt Tammy bought it for me. It was a Hello Kitty journal. I loved my journal. And I would write my life, and that was part of my healing in life. And it continued to this day. I don't journal as much now because my journaling through the years was part of my healing. And as I got older, in fact, when my spiritual life really started unfolding for me, my journaling changed, where it became where I would just sit with a pen and I would literally just ask a question, and I would just let whatever would come through, again, blank out my mind and just like sit in that light. And I would just focus on something far away, and then I would write, and I would get these amazing, beautiful spiritual messages that would come to me of comfort and of wisdom. And then I learned throughout the years that was actually the wisdom of my own soul. Yes, I'm working with my spirit guides as well. I'm a deeply spiritual person, but it was also the wisdom within that I think a lot of people, it's really important. And this is a message I want to get out to people. What I believe about, again, perspective, and how that's the key that opens up the door to that golden road within us. And also that oracle within, which in my fairy books is King Fruitkin. He represents that small voice. We all have that small voice within, that voice of reason, that voice of wisdom, that voice of beauty, of when life gets really tough. And, and children, they're coming from their perspective in their lives, and they're still blossoming and growing, and they're not adults yet. And then you have adults who have a lot of trauma in their lives that they haven't worked through, and other people's belief systems and other people's perspectives, because everybody sees things so differently, and it's how they're going to respond. It can really affect the self, the personality. So if one is able to calm down and really go into that oracle within, that wisdom within, the inner King Fruitkin that we all have, you can find that golden road within yourself, and then you're able to respond in beauty and touch that gorgeous golden place within yourself. I hope that answers your question. Sometimes I start rambling, so I think
It
I'm
was
on
beautiful,
rambling.
and thank you so much for sharing that with us, because it definitely makes a lot of sense. And going within is the answer, especially in today's times when everything is so chaotic in the outside
Yeah,
world,
yeah.
right? Yes. So, Alex, where can people find your book, and what projects do you have in the future that you're working on?
Okay, you can go to my website, which is www.alejandriakate.com. That's www.ALEJAN like Nancy, B like David, R like Robert, IAKA, T like Tom, E like Edward.com, alejandriakate.com. On there, I have listed all my
Alejandro.
books. Alejandria. Yeah, you said
Ale-
Alejandria.
yeah.
I'm like, oh
Yes,
no.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that sounds like something I need to take an ointment for or something.
Yes. Yes, I'm so sorry, because I always call you Alex, but here I wanted to say the right name and I
Oh,
said it
no worries.
incorrectly.
Honestly, I'm probably saying it wrong. I don't speak Spanish, so
Yeah.
I don't quite do the accent on my own name, right? So, and I'm not
Yes.
attached to my name, so no
Yes.
worries.
Oh, thank you
Um,
so much. Yeah.
So I have 3 books listed there that I've done, which is The Lantern Fairy, How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds, and Transformational Healing, which is more of an adult book. It's a workbook to work through negative belief systems and to learn how to create within yourself a positive belief system that leads you to joy. The books that I have in queue now is Bubble Trouble, which is a bear book. It's about 2 bears, a little boy and a little girl, and it's about learning to mind your parents. And it's really fun. It's got magic in it because I love magic. So it has magical bubbles and a magical white witch, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful, cute little book about bears. And I'm currently working on my fairy series, the book 3 and the book 4 book in the Fairy Awakenings, which of course are my inspired journey that I've gone on, the lessons I've learned, but also my fairies are my best girlfriends. So I turn
That's
my friends into
beautiful.
fairies. So be
Yes.
careful, you might turn into a fairy.
Yes, everybody also wants to turn into a fairy, definitely. So I know you have a full-time job. How do you find the time to write and work on your passion with all the wonderful things that you are doing and all the other responsibilities? Because most of the authors ask me the same thing, I want to write, but I do not have the time to write. So what advice do you have for them?
Woo! Well, you know what? For me, well, okay. So honestly, I'm a lone wolf. So I spend a lot of time alone. I have
Okay.
great friends. I have friends that go back 30 years. I'm very blessed in that way. But I require a lot of time alone. So I do have a full-time job. I'm a stenographer. But sometimes inspiration hits me late at night or early in the morning. So I find myself where I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, okay, it's hitting me, and this is what I'm going to write when it's really quiet. Also, I would advise people, go away. I'm in Taos, New Mexico. I decided I wanted to get away. I want to look at property and I want to do a little bit of writing. And so, gift yourself that wonderful little adventure of going and checking out a new place, and go by yourself. That's kind of the advice I would give. You got to carve out time. You got to say on the calendar, these are my writing hours. Give yourself an hour every Sunday at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then set your alarm clock. Set it if you have to set it at 4 a.m. If you got kids, you just got to make the time. I hear birds chirping in the
Right.
background. I love
Yes,
it.
yes. I'm sitting in the, in my
Yeah,
backyard.
I
It's
love
beautiful.
birds.
Yeah. So I remember you have written this book on angels, right? Like co-authored a book on angels. Oh, who's the Uh,
Co-authored a book on angels. I don't think that's me. I love angels, but which book are you talking about?
Healing Thoughts, is that one of your co-authored books, Healing
Are you
Thoughts?
talking about Happy Thoughts? That one?
Happy
Happy Thoughts?
Thoughts. Yes, yes,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that threw me off. Yeah, you know what? So one of my other mentors is Sunny Dawn Johnston.
yes,
Okay,
yes,
anybody who, any ladies out there for real, you need to check out Sunny Dawn Johnston. She is one of the most beautiful people I've ever met, and she works with angels. And she has the coolest group of chicks that's part of her tribe. And so actually several of the ladies that's part of Sunny's tribe, when we all got together and we all contributed a little bit of our writing and created Happy Thoughts Playbook. And that's a really, really fun book that me, along with a bunch of other amazing women, and Sunny Dawn Johnston wrote the foreword, and just made this cute little book with a bunch of like coloring exercises and like poetry and writing. And it's just all about positivity. It's all about, again, the creation. Creating is finding the joy in anything. It's about choice,
yes,
and that's what my
yes,
fairies realize. It's like the beauty within the self, and it's about choice. It's about how you want to see things, how you're going to choose to create beauty in your life, and everybody has trauma, everybody has things, and other people's trauma is not to be compared to others, because again, it's about perspective, and it's about
right.
how we respond to it and how we react to it. So Happy Thoughts Playbook is a really fun book of just a whole bunch of cool chicks that came together and just created a really fun book for everyone. So yeah.
Exactly. I love it. And in fact, I had the opportunity of meeting Sunny Dawn in one of the workshops here, because I believe she lives in Phoenix too.
Yeah, she does.
And yes, and then she was telling in that workshop, she was telling us, when she wanted to write her first book, I think she had children, two kids, little kids, and she just closed herself in a house. She went somewhere and she closed herself in a room for I don't know how many weeks, like 4 weeks or something, and she wrote that first book, which is about angels, I believe,
Mhm.
also, but a
Yeah.
very popular book. I
Yeah.
remember the cover. She's on the cover and she's like lying
Yes.
down. I
I'm
remember the
blanking
cover.
right now. I want to say it so I can pump her. She's just so freaking cool. Every time I see her, I cry. And I think that's because she's just such a beautiful person, and her light is so bright that it's like my light recognizes her light, and I just cry. Like I want to cry even just thinking about her. She's amazing. Yeah. Darn it. What's the
Yes.
name of that book? Oh well.
Yeah, so when you mentioned that, just take a break and go away to write, I was reminded of her all of a sudden,
Yeah.
and luckily we also have a connection through her, so that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Okay, so
Yeah.
any other advice, last thoughts that you might have for our readers, and uh, anything that you want to share?
You know what? I would just say to everybody that's listening, all the readers and everybody out there, you are beautiful and you are amazing. And also, you know what? I think this is really, really important to say to people. Um, Learn how to just forgive and love yourself. That's huge. Because, I always say to people, and I say this to my friends a lot too. I say this to my friend Jenny. We did a podcast together, and I think I touched upon this as well. She does an amazing podcast, by the way. You know what? Don't get caught up on the fact of the mistakes that we've made in the past. I mean, I continually every day am working on myself, but guess what? I still mess up. I still have bad days. I still behave sometimes in ways where I'm like, oh, Alex, you could have done better than that. But you know what? Don't let that stop you. The things that you've done in your past, the mistakes that you've made, don't let that stop you from recognizing how beautiful you are, because you are beautiful, each and every one of you. And we're brothers and sisters on this journey. And, if I can stand here in my imperfections and say, you know what, I have totally hurt people, I have totally made the wrong choices. But you know what? I'm still the golden road within me. I'm still a beautiful, beautiful heart, and so are you. And it's okay that you've made mistakes. It's okay that you're not perfect. No one is. You know what? No one is. And that's the beauty of it. It's an everyday unfoldment of who you really are. And I wish you all the best. So
Thank you so much, Alex. That was so beautiful beautiful Sunday morning inspiration, honestly, for me, and I'm sure for most of the people who joined
Yay.
us today. You should start your own soul series for Sunday mornings, you know. Seriously, we need a lot of you, a lot of your wisdom and your advice in the world. Thank you, Alex, and thank you. And good luck with all your future projects and even with these books because they just released, they're doing amazing. I think both of the books that were number one movers and shakers on
Yay.
Amazon India and top 20 overall on Amazon India. So people, I know a lot of our listeners are from India. So please go ahead and check those books, The Lantern Fairy and How the Strawberry Got Its Seeds. You can also search for the Fairy Awakenings. It's Awakenings with an S series, and you should find her books. And of course, we'll post the links here and everything. So thank you, Alex, and
Yeah.
thank you for spending your Sunday morning with us. And
Thank you, Parul. I mean, I don't know how I would have done this without you. If anybody's looking for an amazing lady
oh,
to
thank
like
you.
guide the way of book publishing, please, like you're just a beautiful, amazing, wonderful, kind, patient, cool chick to work with. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I think the patient comes from being a mom, right? So thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
And you have a
everyone.
wonderful time in New Mexico. And let's chat when you're back.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
You too. Bye bye. So that was Alex, and what a beautiful, inspirational interview. I'm sure you got inspired for the rest of your week. In fact, for the rest of your year, until the end of the year, and then we can have her back beginning of year to get some more inspiration and some more guidance and wisdom. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Antra, for giving me this opportunity of speaking with some amazing authors on your wonderful platform and helping authors share their message through your platform. So thank you. I love the talk too. And do check out My Secret Bookshelf's Instagram and also their online store because most of the books that we are talking about today, even Alex's book, they are also on available on the store. So if you have not heard about her stuff, you need to go check Amazon and do some little bit of research. And she is a wonderful children's books author, very popular in the United States. And I'm sure you will find some inspiration and some beautiful books written by her on Amazon, her website, and also on My Secret Bookshelf page. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening, everybody. Hope you had a wonderful festival today and happy festival season ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you.